give a very warm welcome to Kambri Crews. My book, Burned Down the Ground, is partially about how I grew up in a tin shack and then a trailer that got repossessed and then back into a tin shack with my family who is deaf. Like, my whole family is deaf. And this usually prompts a lot of questions, so I'll go ahead and answer the top 3 questions that I get when people find out that my family is deaf. Yes, I know sign language. 2, I know how to talk because I'm not deaf. And 3, this is how you sign all the dirty words. Okay, there you go. Yeah, it's hard not to know what that is. Come on. So when I was 16 years old, I was about to go on my first date with this boy named Rick Shivers. And Rick Shivers was a very tanned, very, very tall drink of 18-year-old water. And he showed up at my apartment wearing tight acid-wash jeans and a turquoise wife beater. And his mullet was like really carefully crafted. I swear he curled his bangs under with a curling iron. He would say no, but I have pictures. And my dad was sitting on the couch, and he was watching an episode of Glow, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. And he tore his eyes away from the bedazzled wrestlers, took one look at Rick at our front door, and like sprung into action. He goes, "Hey, don't fuck." I'm like, "Oh my God, Dad, I know, Jesus." He's like, no, listen to me, don't fuck. Don't fuck, I don't want you pregnant, I want you to graduate, go to college. I'm like, "Okay, Dad, Jesus." And we walk out the front door, and like I'm pushing Rick out. Now, Rick doesn't know sign language, but he knows some things up, and he's like, "My gosh," like, "what was your dad saying?" It's like, "Oh, you know, nice to meet you, really nice to meet you." Rick was not buying that, no. That was the end of Rick. So you can imagine, I was not a fan of introducing people to my dad, especially guys who are interested in putting their in my right? So years later, I'm dating my then boyfriend, now husband Christian, and we've been dating for about 3 years, so it was kind of pushing the limits, especially now that we were talking about getting married. It was time for Christian to meet my dad. And I was really, really nervous, as you can imagine, as we drove up to my dad's house in the Texas State Penitentiary in Huntsville, Texas. Also known as the record holder for the greatest number of executions in the United States. Yay, Huntsville! So yeah, Dad is in prison, and he's lived there for at the time, about 3 years, 4 years. I just started dating Christian right after my dad was sentenced to 20 years for trying to kill his third wife or his girlfriend. I'm not really sure because they technically weren't divorced. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Really, honestly, one of the downsides of being deaf is that you don't hear the cops break in as you're stabbing someone to death. So you get caught, and you get 20 years. Oh, it's okay. He's totally innocent. Just ask him. He didn't do it. So yeah, Dad's in jail. We show up at the prison. We're waiting for my dad. My dad comes out, and my dad looks terrible. He looks like he's been in prison for a few years. He's missing teeth from fighting, and his cheeks are sunk in. He's got like all these new prison tattoos. One is a Tasmanian devil doing the "I love you" signs, like with his tongue sticking out. Really cool, Dad. Yeah, and he's totally trying to be cool, when he sees Christian, he like does this real badass strut, like a cool dad. Never mind, he looks like Keith Richards, or that crazy DUI photo of Nick Nolte? He looks like that, except instead of a jazzy Hawaiian shirt, he's wearing prison whites, but he's a cool dad. No, Christian doesn't know sign language, so we kind of just sat there listening to my dad, or watching my dad just regale us with story after story. You know, he hasn't seen anyone. We're his first visitors. So he's got an audience who finally understands what he's saying, and he just is diarrhea of the hands, I guess. And he's just telling story after story, regaling us of days in the free world when he was free. And all of his stories involve drinking, gambling, drugs, you know, usually a combination of all three. One night, I was out dancing, drinking, partying, you know me. Well, anyway, I see this beautiful woman. She was watching me playing pool, so I wanted to show off, like that movie, Color of Money. You remember that movie? Yeah. So I wanted to show off. I'm with my stick. Well, I didn't hear the woman walking up behind me, and I turned around, hit her in the head with the stick, and her hair. She was bald! I screamed, ran, got the hair, put it on her head. Oh, I'm sorry. Fuck, I'm sorry. Woo, yeah. I never saw her again. So my other friend and I are laughing. We are laughing so hard that like a lot of people, even the guards, some of the other inmates, they all stop and look at us. And I hear one inmate say, "Oh yeah, that guy's deaf, but he's a good guy. Real good guy." I'm like, yeah, good guy. My dad's a good guy. Well, judge not, lest ye be judged, is the main principle of operation on the inside. Yeah. So after a while, a guard comes by and he tells us we only have 20 minutes. 20 minutes and the visit's over. And all of a sudden, my dad gets like into business mode, and he pulls out a list of all this stuff that he wants me to do, buy this, look up that, get this, whatever. One thing, he's like, give me new glasses. I'm like, wait, I have to buy you new glasses? You can't get them here in prison? Like, oh, well, yeah, I can get them here, but they look like Buddy Holly. They're ugly. Ugh. I'm like, have you been to Brooklyn lately? I guess not. And he wants the Sunday New York Times. Only Sunday. I want to see what the big deal is. And hey, I want you to write a letter for my friend, Larry. Larry is a fellow inmate who had been transferred to another prison because he had suffered severe beatings from the hands of guards because the guards had found drawings of nude children in Larry's cell. No, Larry told me, no, he's not a child molester, no, he's a flasher. That's nothing, just a flasher. And they beat him? Why'd they beat him? Larry said, they're not drawings of kids, no, they're midgets. Not dwarves, that's different, midgets. Okay, Dad, midgets, really? I think that's hilarious, I'm sorry. Dad actually smuggled out a picture of one of the midgets, and it's a drawing of a child licking a lollipop, and there's another one on a skateboard or whatever, and at the bottom it's like, midget, dwarf woman, 23 centimeters. Okay, whatever. Very specific. So after my dad gets to the list, the guard comes by and says, okay, time's up, visit's over. So Christian, I guess, kind of passes muster by sitting on the proper side of the prison glass. So we go home, and a couple weeks later, I get a letter from my dad. And he says, okay, Christian, it was really nice to meet you. I guess you're good enough for my daughter. He guesses. Yeah, and I wish you the best happiness being married to my daughter. And remember, I don't want you doing adultery or drinking or dope. You know. Trust me. Promise me. Love, Daddy. Father really does know best. Thank you.